Hi, welcome to the Lisa Saunders Show. I'm Lisa Saunders, and back by popular demand is Debra Lynn, former lead singer for the Rolling Stone magazine house band, right?
Yes.
And Dr. Joanne Z. Moore, owner of Shoreline Physical Therapy. And the reason we come back to you today is because we are discussing musician injuries, and I had no clue musicians had injuries from the way they play, practice, years of performing. I get writer's injuries from sitting there at the computer, but musicians have their own set of problems, and it's very interesting to me what they should do to prevent them, and this exercises you need to do to keep yourself limber and strengthened. Anyway, so Debra, just to get us in the mood, will you play us a song?
Of course. On where I sit and what I see from the comfort of my easy chair, every corner of this blessed world cries out for love, hope, and repair. The question always comes down to, can one single person do? Have to pick somewhere to start, find the thing that moves your heart. We all need decent shelter, place to build, house or home to call our own, roof and walls around to keep us safe and warm, windows to let the light shine in, house or home to call our own. I'm so grateful to have all the things I do, loved ones and a house to come home to. I want to be part of what's rebuilding our humanity. In giving, there's so much to receive. We all need decent shelter, place to live, house of home to call our own, roof and walls around to keep us safe and warm, windows to let the light shine in, house of home to call our own. We all need decent shelter.
Amen. Nicely done.
And you
Nicely
did
done.
that for Habitat for Humanity, right?
I
To
did.
raise awareness of the need for housing for people, or to join in the effort of building houses or donating for materials.
Yes, and in fact, what inspired me to play it today is I'll be singing it for an event about homelessness coming up next month, and just delighted when people remember it, and it helps with fundraising and just to remind people how fortunate we are to have our homes. And there's a lot of great organizations out there trying to help people who don't have homes.
And you create a lot of music for many causes: Mothers Against Drunk Driving, autism, all kinds of efforts.
Child abuse, cancer survivors, and
And you have a book for cancer survivors that you did with it, like an image book that went along with your song.
yes, that was dedicated to cancer survivors and their loved ones. It's a book of photography by my late friend Monica Schwartz-Bear, and we illustrated her photographs with the lyrics of the song.
Now people can just go to your website, right, to find out all your
Absolutely.
different, get your different music
Yes.
and CDs and everything. And this is kind of a good match that you're here, Joanne, because you get involved with a lot of causes. You've been doing owned your physical therapy practice for 44 years.
Well, I've been practicing for that long, but I've only owned this practice for 35 years.
Oh, okay. But you did work with orphans, and I forget which country
In
that was.
Nepal.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, you guys have a lot in common, the different causes that you get involved in. So you're a good match to help her, keep her from being injured and treating her. So can you just tell me about these musician injuries. Is this something only professionals worry about, or children?
Not
or
at all.
Oh,
Not
really?
at all.
Okay.
In fact, that's one of the big things physical therapy does, is no matter what your passion is, we're here to support you and to help you to do what you want to do. And we'll figure out strategies and interventions to make it possible for people to fulfill their dreams, to do whatever it is that they want to do. I think all of us have a special place in our heart for musicians because you touch us deep in our core. And the world would be so poor without the music. And truly, your message for Habitat or for cancer is so much stronger because it's done to music. If you just got up and said, everybody needs a house, just wouldn't have the same resonance.
Now, what kind of injuries would somebody like Debra on a guitar have?
Okay.
Or any instrument?
Right. Well, if you look at any professional orchestra, about 50% of the players are playing in pain.
That's
Of some sort.
That's a huge percentage.
It's a huge
50%?
percentage. And it's almost always preventable. The two injuries fall into two categories, basically. Tendons becoming inflamed and nerves becoming entrapped. So those are the two areas. The tendons being inflamed can be managed with exercise, and the nerve entrapments can be managed by proper posture. So in physical therapy, we look closely at posture and muscles.
Now, in the last show, in part one, if people wanted to, they can Google it. It's on my YouTube channel. They can see what you spoke about in regard to her posture and the way she held herself.
Right.
So if they want that kind of information, and she did it on the keyboard, thank you, and the guitar.
Right.
All right. So when people are sitting
Okay.
or holding things,
Right.
what happens?
Well, there are basically 4 places where nerves can be trapped. The neck, the thoracic outlet, in the elbow, and in the carpal tunnel. And so you've heard of thoracic outlet syndrome. You've heard of, you may not have heard of nerve entrapment in the elbow, but certainly thoracic outlet syndrome, and certainly you know that necks can pinch nerves that'll bring pain all the way down the arm.
Yeah, I was so surprised when I couldn't type anymore on the computer. I'm thinking it was my arm that was driving me crazy, and you felt around at me and said, no, it's your neck. And I thought, my neck?
Right.
I never, I mean, you were right, but I just never suspected it was my
You
neck.
mean you couldn't type anymore, or it would hurt to type?
I could barely type at all. I mean,
Really?
I have clients that I write for, and I have, I have deadlines.
Right.
And I don't know, I just couldn't, and I didn't feel it in my neck. It was, I don't know.
Well, if you think of your spinal cord as a water hose, and if you kink your water hose, the water can't get through. And if you kink your spinal cord, the nerves can't conduct well. So you have the most space for your nerves if you have your chin back.
Yeah, that's one of those exercises I had to
Correct.
do.
So if you look at me from my side, my earlobe should be right over my shoulder. It shouldn't be forward. For every bit that it's going forward, my spinal cord is being compromised.
Which is how a person who writes on the computer tends to have their head. How about for
Or if you're
Debra?
looking at, you had your music memorized, which is very nice, but most musicians can't, if they're playing in a symphony or something like that, they're sharing a music stand with someone else. And then they're static in a posture for a long period of time looking at that. And they really can't move their head very much because they need to keep their eyes focused on that music. So the head posture is a real problem. First of all, you can pinch the nerves in your shoulder in the thoracic outlet. Thoracic outlet is between the collarbone and the first rib. And it's where all the nerves exit the spinal cord and start to come down to the arm. And so in that little geography, there's a lot of nerves. And if you round the shoulders, you pinch the nerves. So by bringing the shoulders down and back, you're giving those nerves lots of room. But again, if your instrument is in front of you, whether you're playing a wind instrument or the drums or the guitar, it's always in front of us. Our music is in front of us. So it's hard to come back this way during that time, but it's a good habit to get into.
It also opens up the chest more for singing.
Correct.
Right.
Some musicians sing along with their playing, Many don't. So you have to, but even if you're playing a wind instrument, you still need to get that air out,
Right.
even if it's not
I'm
singing.
going to maximize the
So
body's
what can you do to
ability.
prevent these injuries?
Posture for the first things, hands down, and that comes from your teacher. Your teacher will demand that you have a certain posture.
But how can you do it if you're reading music? And yeah, it sounds good to have posture, but
I know. You have to be aware of it, first of all. You have to have a teacher who disciplines you to make it a habit. Because I can keep my head back here and still look if my eyes are right. Maybe get a good eye exam and work with your optometrist or ophthalmologist.
oh, so it's even bad just to be vain, not want to wear glasses.
Right. You don't really look that great if you're doing that anyway. So vanity can go out the window. I think a teacher is really important. I think the second thing is maybe your furniture. So making sure your feet are firmly on the floor. And for children at a piano bench, that's hard. Their feet are just swinging. And so it's hard to sit up straight if you don't have your feet well supported on the floor. So maybe parents need to provide a footstool for their child. Maybe their child doesn't want to play for 30 minutes because they're tired and it's uncomfortable and their muscles just can't do it. So make the position as supported as you can so that the child can just play the music and not worry about holding themselves up against gravity.
When should somebody seek treatment? I mean, clearly, when I can't work, I seek treatment. It's happened to me a couple times, and it's been different things. I mean, should a musician come before they're incapacitated?
Absolutely.
Well, how can they know? How can they know they're about to be incapacitated?
A nerve is being pinched when you start to get pins and needles or pain radiating. Nerve pain will also bother you at night. So if you lie on your side, you may compress the thoracic outlet, or if you bring your hand like this to sleep, it'll bring in carpal tunnel symptoms. If you have carpal tunnel syndrome, your hands will get numb if you do this. So that's really your test for carpal tunnel syndrome.
And so that's when you need to seek treatment.
You should seek treatment, and it's so easy. If you seek treatment early on, you can intervene and get it better in a week or two.
Well, we have this table here and some exercise equipment. Can I see what you suggest for Debra?
And could we talk about the most common problem that I have, and I'm sure a lot of people do, that have an instrument around their neck, is that the tension, I have found that as the years have gone on, that it's more and more difficult to play for a duration of time with the guitar around my neck. I mean, it really strains my neck and shoulders and back.
Yeah. One thing I noticed that some musicians do is they'll change instruments halfway through a concert. They'll go to a little ukulele for a while and then come back to their guitar. And that might be a coping strategy that some people use.
Yeah.
Or maybe do more singing for one, sing a cappella for one, and then come back to your guitar.
Often sat down in between sets. It just depends.
Or sit down.
Yeah.
Or give someone else a chance to play in your concert. Pick a young person who you think has potential and let them play. And you can just sit back and admire them and take your rest and then come back. I see Joan Baez do that. Joan will play one or two songs and then let the young person come on. She takes a rest and then someone else comes up. So
she's certainly my contemporary now.
I think planning has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's a good
Developing those planning strategies. Yeah. And then, of course, being very strong can make all the difference.
Yeah, I've been trying to do my upper body workouts. Yeah.
Musicians typically don't like to exercise. That's not their personality style. If they wanted to be athletes, they would have been athletes. This is where they're drawn.
So what kind of exercises do you recommend?
Core strengthening. If they liked rowing, that would be great. Crew would be a great off-season sport for people because it pulls you back. It does. It just pulls everything back. So crew is great. Just outdoor walking, swinging your arms with good posture.
Oh, that's the thing to do. Swing your arms when you walk.
Yeah. Keep your head back. Have a nice trunk to it. Something different than the music. See, the thing is, the kids don't practice all summer and then they come to band camp for a full week and they're 8 hours a day playing, and that's when they develop trouble because they haven't played in 8 weeks and now they're playing 8 hours a day. So that's when they get in trouble. So you have to gradually build up. The week before band camp, they should start to play to get their muscles back in shape again. Of course, as with any athletic endeavor. Okay, so would you like to try some exercises?
Sure.
Okay, well, let's do the most difficult ones first.
Okay.
I'm so glad I get to watch. I don't have to.
Okay, so I'm going to start with this styrofoam roll. Are you able to pick that up and put it on the table? Thanks. This exercise is for posture to help bring those shoulders back. So these styrofoam rolls are available at most sporting goods stores. You'll find them in most gyms. They're under $20. Beautiful, just like that. Now, just being there, you can feel your chest open up a little bit.
Yes.
Now, to stretch the front of the chest out, remember how to do a snow angel from when you were a little kid? Just bring your hands right up like that. Now, if you don't have one of these rolls, you can just lay on the floor and do this. And turn your palms up so that your fingernails touch the floor all the way up overhead and then all the way down. In here you may notice some asymmetries. You may notice that one arm goes up further than the other.
How's she doing?
That's okay. I think she's doing great, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Lisa.
This is much more difficult than it looks.
Well, I can
It's
feel
very difficult. I've done it, and I'm just, like I said, I'm really glad it's not me.
You can really feel the upper back area.
Right. Now
working.
you should never go through pain. If something starts to pinch or hurt, stop just before you think it's going to start to hurt and come back.
Pain has such a wide spectrum.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead
Okay.
and sit up if you can.
Okay. Off the roller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right forward. Okay. Now, Deb, since you're such a good sport, can I ask you to do some more difficult ones?
Of course.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to lie on your tummy
Okay.
so that your face is up this way and
Okay.
your feet are down that way.
Okay.
Okay. And let your hands scoot right down towards the floor. Now this one can be done on the side of your bed, and it's called I's, Y's, and T's. Now bring your hands up forward like Superman, just like that, and then back down again. And now your body looks like the letter I. Straight up, Superman. Good. Now this strengthens all of these muscles through here and helps you to maintain an upright posture and not be rounded. And this is great even for adults because this is where we tend to round and where we tend to get some osteoporosis. So anything that we can do to interrupt that, even if you're not a musician, is a good thing to do. Now the next
How
exercise...
long is she supposed to hold it for when she puts her...
She doesn't need to hold it for
So it's
too
just
long.
slowly going up, slowly going down. How
Yep.
many should we aim to do?
Our goal is three sets of 10.
What does that mean, 3
30.
sets? Instead of saying...
Do 10,
yeah.
and then do something else, then come back and do 10 more
Okay.
again. Now the next one, before you get too tired, is the letter Y. So you bring your arms out at a 45-degree angle. Yep, just like that. And then back down again.
Now, should you be trying to think of your pelvis being riveted to the table?
Correct. And this is too. You're not lifting your whole body. And your head is staying in a nice neutral position. You're not looking up. And that's a little, let's bring you in a little closer to here. There you go. So your body now looks like the letter Y. Good. And then the last exercise, your body looks like the letter T. So you come right out to the side. Beautiful. Just like that. Up and down. Up. And that, you can feel that working? Okay, and right up here, yeah.
And how many
Right about-
sets of...
And again, we try to do about 30 repetitions of each one.
So, but always 3 sets of 10 because you want us to
3
rest
sets
or
of
do
10
something in
or
between.
2 sets of 15, whichever you prefer. Okay, thank you, Deb. That was awesome. So that was I's, Y's, and T's. And those are hard.
Time to get up.
Yes, you can get up now. Beautiful. And you can just sit right there on the edge of the table. Now, to prevent tendinitis, You do the first half of an exercise quickly and the second half of the exercise rather slowly. So, to prevent a tennis elbow or a golfer's elbow in through here, you keep your elbow close to your side. I'm going to give you a 1 pound weight. Lift it up quickly.
Not just from the wrist?
Correct, just from the wrist. And then down slowly. So it's up quickly and then down to the count of 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then up. 1, 2, 3. Tendons get stronger when you lower slowly. So anything that's tendinitis, which is an inflammation of the tendon. A tendon attaches a muscle to a bone. And when it gets inflamed, it's sore when you use the muscle. Okay, so now we're going to do biceps, and they're a bigger muscle. So I'll let you have a bigger. And this one, if you have soreness, beautiful hair, soreness right in here, that could be a bicipital tendon. Come up quickly and down slowly. Just like that. And that's going to make the bicipital tendon stronger. If you have sore, excuse me?
How do you know how much weight to start with?
You should be able to do 30 repetitions. If you can't, then it's too heavy.
Okay.
So start lighter than what you think you can do and build up. Okay. And the third exercise is out to the side. And then just raising your arm up this high and back down. And this gets the rotator cuff muscle that's frequently injured.
Or replaced. I know a lot of people have.
Yeah, they have to. This is when they say rotator cuff repair. This is the tendon that ruptures.
Okay.
And it ruptures because of erosion. And it erodes when the scapula, the shoulder blade, rides up and pinches it.
Now, is this something you should try to do? I mean, if you're not in treatment, having to do it 3 times a week, whatever, is this something you should be trying to do every day?
3 times a week.
3 times a week as a preventative?
Yes.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
How long do you think this set would take you? I mean, to do this?
To do
what you wish somebody like Debra would do.
It takes me about 2 minutes to do to do all 3 IYs and T's.
Right.
I do it 4 days a week.
You do,
As a prevention. Takes me 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, that's all? Oh, wow. Okay. So we're not talking about a big chunk of time for a musician to spend just to keep from getting into trouble.
Correct.
Okay.
And then to stretch this out in here, you just bring your hand down like this, and then bring your other hand and stretch and straighten out that elbow. There you go. And then stretch down that way. And you should feel the stretch coming right through here.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one for the left hand,
Yeah. And this is a motion that you use a lot in guitar.
Well, that does feel good.
Good.
Do you have these written out by any chance?
Of course.
Of course you do.
I give every patient a handwritten or a computerized printout of all the exercises that they're to do every day, and I would be happy to get you that.
That'd be great.
So we've talked about nerve compression injuries. We've talked about tendinitis a little bit. The third area that you have to be concerned about is psychological health. There's a lot of performance anxiety with musicians, and it seems like the better the musician, sometimes the more anxious they become. They don't realize how wonderful that they are just being themselves. And so the deep breathing techniques are really important. And being very gentle with yourself, forgiving yourself when you don't hit the right note. No one else noticed it but you. And it's okay, just keep going. Especially in a live performance. The people are in the moment and they're not catching those little finesses. So
deep breathing, how? Like how should she be doing that?
Well, that's something that I believe I'm cultivating in my regular meditation practice.
Meditation's a great adjunct to being a musician.
Oh, yeah.
That would take half. Because don't you know when you're nervous, you put in more energy than the task requires.
Right.
Whatever the task is. If you're angry, you're vacuuming harder. You just put too much into it, and you're much more prone to an injury if you're feeling emotional. So staying calm, being at peace, even though the world's going crazy around you, being at peace within yourself is going to minimize the impact on your body.
It reminds me of the other day I was singing at an event and a word slipped from my mind. And it was remarkable to me how I was able to slip in some words and no one noticed it. And they weren't really the correct words.
Right.
And I really believe that cultivating a meditation practice enabled me to do that without jumping or just completely going off the track.
Right.
Now we have about 4 minutes left. What do you wish? I mean, I'm hoping she has a chance to sing again. But do you have something
I think
else?
that's a great idea.
Do you have something else we should cover though?
Because that's what
Next
it's
couple
all
minutes.
about. I would just say to musicians of all ages, find a good teacher. Be at peace within yourself. Practice regularly so that an audition isn't overwhelming for your body. Have another activity like meditation or exercise that gives you some generalized strength. And when you do start to notice any physical symptoms, seek out a physical therapist or an occupational therapist or a physician who specializes in musician injuries.
Okay, so there's people that specialize in those particular injuries.
Right.
Okay. That's
So
good to know.
seek
And how
out
would
help.
Okay, how would they know that? Maybe do you usually? I think you usually have to start with your primary care physician. Usually.
And they know everybody in the community. They'll help to refer you
Okay.
to the right person.
Right, and I'm excited because actually I'll see Debra again on Saturday for the March of Dimes. This time you won't be having your guitar. I think you'll be singing
The national anthem.
the national anthem. You're a wonderful singer, and I've gotten to hear you several times. So, what do you feel like playing? Are we going to give us a hint first?
Well, I
before we
thought
start?
I know you love the Connecticut song, so
Oh, I
thought
do!
this is such a beautiful season in New England. I thought I'd play the Connecticut
Oh,
song.
thank you. Great.
I don't know if we'll have time for the whole thing, but I'll play as much as we have time for.
Great, good.
It's called Where New England Begins. I was a single city girl, just following my heart. Had enough of urban life, out to make a brand new start. Something fresher, cleaner, kinder, more air beneath my wings. Loaded up my car, and little girl with all our things, I set out to find where New England begins. New England begins where the steeples and the greens are proudly framed by landmark towns. New England begins when the car horns and the crowds finally fade away and settle down. New England begins where the city lines get blurred and the wetlands and marinas hug the shore. New England begins where the church bells can be heard while you're chatting with the folks that live next door. There's pumpkins on our front porch, kids are playing in the snow. In the community that's welcoming, our roots begin to grow. Made new friends at school bus stops with our coffee mugs in hand. The days are sweet and full here, I'm liking where I am. There's a way of life where New England begins. New England begins with fields and roadside stands, with husky banners waving husky pride. New England begins where the Sox and Yankee fans can be found together, cheering side by side. New England begins where the walls are made of stone and the autumn reds and yellows are aflame. New England begins where the rivers weave their way to the sound on a long midsummer's day. My home is where